Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Jim Master Show, live entertainment lifestyle talk show series. It's so great to have you guys here. Hope you guys are doing well, and I'll be having a good day. If you're not having a good day, well, guess what? We're going to put some smiles on your face with lots of humor and lots of our famous JMS levity, or as we call it, lovity. We toast all of you. Welcome. It is Friday at the time of the show. Now, I'm talking to our live audience, those of you who watch this maybe on a Wednesday night at 3 o'clock in the morning, wherever you are around the world. It might not be necessarily Friday night. However, it is right now, and it's been a very, very busy day and a long day. I've been on location on a couple of TV shoots. We have a lot of radio shows to do, and in style, we toast you and you and you and you. And I tell you, every time I do this, I keep saying, every time I do this, I feel like I should be going like this, and I should be doing Mass on Sunday and blessing all of you. Well, we bless you with lots of our JMS levity. Hello to the Levity Squad. You ask, what's a Levity Squad? If you're new, Levity Squad are the folks who watch the show faithfully. About a year or so ago, I said the show has a lot of light, love, levity. Said it just a little too fast. I said the word levity. Boom. That became branding for our show. So many people said they get a lot of levity out of the show, and that's cool. You're saying, Jimmy, you're going to sip this or just look at it? I think I'll sip it. Very tasty. You'll have to guess what that is. Hey, gang, good to have you with us. It's always great to have you here. Thanks for joining us. I know there's 10 million other things you could be doing, like vacuuming the rugs and doing the laundry and walking the dog, but you decided to be here with us, and that matters to us. That means a great deal. If you'd like to comment live during the show, we have something special for you. The ability to do that. And you can certainly do that when you subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's a gift for all of the folks who subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is Jim Masters TV. We make it easy. We make it simple. Jim Masters TV is that YouTube channel. And we thank you so much for those of you who have subscribed, those of you who are part of our Levity Squad. You're definitely a levity when you subscribe to the YouTube channel. There's no cost for that. I don't know why they use the word subscribe, but there's no cost for that. They should just say like or follow or fan of, but they use subscribe. Click the red button. It'll make sure that you are connected with us, and we see all the subscribers. So all of you who have subscribed to our channel, we thank you so very much. We have a lot of folks from around the world who have been following and subscribing and liking and sharing, and that's so beautiful. Matter of fact, give this episode and all the episodes you like a hearty like. There's a little thumbs up icon, kind of looks like that, on our YouTube channel on all the episodes, and that helps us big time. But leave a comment on the YouTube channel as well. We have a lot of comments coming in here. Thank you so very much. We see them all. We love them all. We love all of you. We have so many cool things we're doing with this series, and we thank all of you for the love, the support, the adulation, the private messages you send, emails and texts and Instagram messages and Facebook messages and so much more. Now, life is crazy, isn't it, lately? There's so much going on in the news. So we're going to divert away from that, and we're going to put smiles on your face. We have a phenomenal guy coming on our show, comedian, actor, and not just that, he's a brilliant voiceover actor as well. Randy Lubas is here, live and direct from a very beautiful place. Matter of fact, we were just talking about the Ivy Restaurant. One of these days, I'd love to do this show on location from the Ivy Restaurant. He's coming to us live and direct from Santa Monica, California. We're so excited to have him here. I know a lot of you have been looking forward to this. So have I. We need levity. We need to smile. We need to have some humor. And you know, we're all about that often here on the show. His comic voice came from the rare ability to spot the ironies in life many people seem to miss. His wry observations have landed him on dozens of national TV and radio broadcasts, which include Comedy Central, Showtime, the Nashville Network, and the nationally syndicated Bob and Tom radio show, where he is a favorite and has been featured on 6 of their CDs. He has performed over 5,000 times in 40 of our states here in the United States, across Canada, on cruise ships, and all over the globe. His uncanny memory and involvement with each audience make every show unique and unforgettable. He calls on the audience by name and remembers them throughout the evening. Sometimes they become the stars of the night. He has performed at hundreds of corporate events ranging from Tropicana Orange Juice to the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's right. His material pokes fun at realtors, engineers, parenting, the airlines, legislators, and on and on. He's the perfect act for events and so much more. He writes the show, he creates the show. Among his writing, you'll find screenplays, stage plays, the animated pilot for Comedy Island's 7 original songs featured on the Dr. Demento Show, questions for the show Street Smarts. He's got a reality show in development too. Married for 35 years. Randy and his wife also own and operate their own comedy clubs in Valencia and Simi Valley, California. And Randy has produced 100 episodes of West Coast comedy, now seen on Hulu. He's also the founder and producer of the Ventura Comedy Festival, which ran for 9 years. That, gang, just so you know, is the short list. That's the short list of what he's done and what he currently does, which is extraordinary. So you guys want to laugh? You want to have a good time with us? We've got a terrific guy joining us again, live and direct from Santa Monica. Our great friend, Randy Lubas, is joining us here. Randy, it's so great to have you on the show. Thanks so much for joining us, and welcome.
Thank you, Jim. I appreciate it. What a nice introduction that was. I appreciate it.
Your mother faxed that to me in the morning, and she approved it. She says, Masters, you better read this and read it verbatim.
You did a good job.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So how are you? It's been really a nutty, crazy time, obviously, for all performers, especially singers, actors, comedians, musicians. You know, things have been closed and shuttered, and now things are coming back, which is really, really good. How have you been during the crazy pandemic? I mean, I keep saying the only people that could have ever scripted this, and I've said it multiple times on our show, Steven Spielberg, George Lucas, Stephen King, and maybe Rod Serling could have scripted what we've gone through the last 2 years or so. How have you been?
Well, you know, let's start with where we are now.
Yes.
Now we you know, every time I get on stage now, it is like everybody is so relieved that here we sit with no masks, with the ability to be in public together as a group and laugh together, and it's been just glorious. It has, and it has been so good. My wife and I got through the pandemic. And by the way, it was so good to have someone with you through it. I really feel for the people that may have been alone, but my wife and I were together, and we largely got through it by watching everything you could watch on Netflix, no matter how bad it was, right? If we watched the first episode, we figured we got an hour investment in that. Let's keep going. And inevitably we'd watch stupid things. There's one show we watched called What If? I don't know if you heard of this show.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
The premise of What If is Renee Zellweger portrays a billionaire capital venturist. This married couple show up, and the woman has created a medical technological breakthrough. She needs startup money. She pitches the idea to Renee Zellweger. Renee Zellweger agrees to give her $80 million with one provision, the provision being that Renee Zellweger gets to sleep with the woman's husband. Well, I'm sitting next to my wife watching this, and I looked at her and I said, honey, for $80 million, would you allow Renee Zellweger to sleep with me? And she looked at me, and a tear came to my eye when she said, I'd have to get the money up front.
And did she say it with a pregnant pause?
and so we made each other laugh.
Got to get the money up front.
And the funny thing is, it was like a ripoff of that movie from years ago. Remember Indecent Proposal? Remember that one?
Oh, sure, yes.
With Woody Harrelson and Demi Moore. And the question was, would you let your wife sleep with Robert Redford for $1 million? Of course I would. For $1 million, I'd let her sleep.
$1 million.
Sanders.
Now, what if it was $999,000 and 99 cents or what have you?
Probably still go for it.
Yes. The light bill has to be paid.
That's right. That's right. But that's
So,
what we did. We watched
yeah,
everything you could, and we made each other laugh, and we got through it. And it was, it was good to be able to laugh through it. It was
yes,
so awful, and I think people that spent that time together created a bond
yes,
that is different than anything else that's ever happened to them in their life. Because I have a
right.
friend who was lived with his girlfriend, and this is a guy who never thought of getting in a committed relationship, but they happened to be together at the beginning of it. They made it all the way through it, and now it's like there's a bond between them that is probably going to last forever. So
Yes,
it was
right.
it was it was really life changing.
It's really cool, isn't it? Some of the things that have happened. So my question to you is, how much sourdough bread did you end up baking during all this?
I'm not much of a baker, but my wife, and that's the other beautiful. My wife is Sicilian, and she was learned how to cook these wonderful Sicilian, and to her that is like joy. For her to
Yeah.
cook, it's a joyous thing. So I ate like a king. I have for 36 years since we've been together. So that was pretty good too.
That's really cool. Did you write a lot of material? Were you making some observations of the craziness of all of this? Did anything that went on add to your repertoire, your material as well?
Well, it's the funny thing is you didn't get a chance to try things out right away.
You couldn't try
So
it out.
yeah,
Yeah.
so what happened was about probably 6 months into the pandemic, I had approached the Santa Clarita Senior Center. They had a beautiful banquet room that seats 350 people seated for dinner, and I had approached them as using their venue before the pandemic, that maybe bringing in special events or New Year's Eve. And I had created a little bit of a relationship, and they, through the pandemic, one day just said, "Would you like to try doing parking lot shows in our parking lot with the comedians?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure, we could do that." So we did shows. We did them once a month in the parking lot of the senior center, and people would sit in their cars, and they broadcast on FM radio into people's car radios, or they could roll down the windows and listen. They gave everybody cowbells, and everybody would either ring their cowbells or honk their horns to laugh at the jokes. And I would put 6 comedians on every show, and
Wow.
every single comedian would be terrified because
Yeah.
nobody had performed for months and months and months. No, half the guys were thinking they forgot their act. Um, and then and they're saying, how I'm going to stand on stage and I can't even see the people. They're in their cars, they're honking horns, ringing cowbells, they're terrified. And then once they got up there, they were soaring. They said, "I'm alive again. I did it."
Yeah.
And so we did that for the better part of a year during the
Wow.
pandemic.
That's
So
amazing.
that would be only once a month I got to get on stage and try out new stuff, and
Into new
you
stuff.
little by little you talk about the little things going on, but it was pretty good.
Your light keeps shifting. Are you doing this from a science fiction lab or something? Looks like
Oh no,
every time it flashes, somebody's being electrocuted upstairs.
oh okay, I could fix that.
It's like pew, 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 pew.
That was the TV that was on muted. My wife said to me, "If you leave the TV on, it'll make it'll look better." So I
Oh, yeah,
had
for the color, yeah. But so what was it? It was muted, but the pictures were changing
yeah,
because
exactly.
it was. I hope you didn't mute the Dick Van Dyke Show reruns, did you?
No, no,
That's against the law. You cannot
easy moves.
mute the Dick
Speaking of
Van
the Dick
Dyke
Van
Show.
Dyke Show, when I first came to LA, I studied acting with Jerry Paris.
Oh,
J
yes, who
Jerry
was
played the nephew.
Jerry and Millie on Dick Van Dyke, but he was responsible for so many involved with Happy Days and
Yeah,
with Gary Marshall and so many other
and
legends.
I'll tell you the funny thing is this is one of the weird things that happened to me in show business. Jerry Paris took a liking to me from his class, and he was directing the Police Academy movies, and he was going to put me into the next Police Academy movie, and he and I had a lunch meeting scheduled. And he called me and he said, "Randy, I'm not going to be able to meet you for lunch. I got to go to the doctor." And later that day, I hear on the radio, he died of a brain tumor. that very day. He went
Mm.
into the doctor, they diagnosed a brain tumor, they had to operate, and he died during the operation. So it was just astounding that actually happened to me.
Isn't that amazing how that happens? Let's go back in time a little bit. Um, did you come from a comedic family? Was there always humor in the house? Were you guys always making each other laugh, or were you the standout? Where did this comedy gene initiate from originally?
Well, you know, my parents were funny both in their own way,
Yeah,
but not like you would think of a comedian.
right.
Um, my father could act very silly,
Yeah,
and my mother would use malaprops.
yeah.
My my mother always would mispronounce words, and it would be very funny. Uh, but I remember one time when my father was in the hospital, she looked at my sister and I and said, "When they brought your father down on that Guernsey, I almost."
I have a relative that does that too.
Yeah.
Instead of toxic, this relative says tactics. We're like, "What?"
And
But
my
if
mother
you
always.
ask that relative that they just said seconds ago, and we and everybody else heard it, matter of fact, we might even have it on tape, that they said tactics,
They would
totally
do
deny
that.
it. "That's not what I said." "Yes,
Oh,
you did." "That's
my mother.
not what I said. I did not say tactics."
That's funny. My
So
mother would also always confuse prostate and prostrate. So the 2 of those were always mixed up. But but,
this same relative, instead of saying yogurt, says, "I just had some vanilla yoga."
but, um, the truth of it was I was painfully shy as a child.
Mm.
My first name is Joseph. My full name is Joseph Randall Lubas,
You grew up
and
on the East Coast?
I grew up on the East Coast,
Pennsylvania?
Pittsburgh,
Or
Pittsburgh,
Pittsburgh?
Pennsylvania,
Pittsburgh, yeah.
and, I used to dread the first day of school because I would have to tell them that I went by Randy, not Joseph, because they would call my name, based on my first name, Joseph. And I would be unable to sleep the day before school because I knew that I would have to raise my hand and say, "I go by Randy, not my first name, Joseph." I just dreaded having to make that explanation. That's how shy I was.
Don't
So
tell me your mother's name was Mary. Mary
no,
Mary and Joseph.
no, Virginia. My mother was Virginia. But, the, so I was really, really shy as a kid. But what I found out was if I would whisper something funny in the back of the classroom,
Yeah,
I could get a laugh.
yeah,
And that's how I kind of began to love the attention that you got
yeah.
from saying something funny in the back of the classroom.
And you were probably able to, which I love to do as well, and I definitely get it from my Irish father, the ability to, and sometimes I even surprise myself, to respond within seconds to something that's going on in front of me, observing it and having a quick quip or observation that's dry and funny based. I mean, everybody else might be like, and then you see something that goes on and you say something quick, and then everybody, the light, has happened in their mind and they're laughing and everything, the ice is melted, and just the ability to just quickly respond to things and have a quick line immediately. And you do that as well. And it really comes definitely from observing life. Would you say you're an observer of the ironies, of the idiosyncrasies, of the craziness of life?
Well, yeah, I think what happens is, what a comedian's job is to spot the things that are out there, spot the stuff that other people walk past every day, and then point it out to everyone else. And then once you point it out, a light bulb goes off in everybody else's head and say, "Oh yeah, he's right. That's right. That's exactly. I've seen that. I know that." And that's kind of what we do. We have a certain prism the way we see the world, and I believe it's a gift. It's a gift of seeing the world a little bit differently, and then the ability to be able to share that with other people, and that's what hopefully generates the laugh.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, you could probably be standing on a train and see things happen and come up with a quick witty observation line that comes from what you're seeing, huh?
Yeah, and you get extra credit when you do something that everybody knows you thought up on the moment. I mean, obviously, you
Yes.
get credit for all the material you've written and practiced and tried and true. But when something off the written script happens, and it doesn't even have to be as funny as long as it came quickly, and you get
Quickly.
much bigger bonus points for that. So it's always fun to include the audience in whatever you're talking about. And that was one of the techniques that I kind of developed is so that my material didn't ever seem old to me. I would talk to the audience by name and as if I was telling that story or that joke specifically to that one person that I talked to by name. And that always kept me in the moment, that it was just fresh and coming off the top of my head. And hopefully that's the way my act seems all the time. That even if
Yeah,
I've done a joke thousands of times,
that it's
feels like I'm telling it for the first time.
so. Who are the folks coming up the ranks that you really admired? Was it the Dangerfields, the Phyllis Dillers, the Carlins? Who are some of the folks that really inspired you in the comedy world?
Well, there were two. Um, the in I loved the silliness of Steve Martin. Steve Martin, if you remember, came about right at the end of the Vietnam War, and it was like he was just total silliness. And I remember seeing him and thinking, boy, I'd like to be able to stand up there and be that silly. And then I would listen to George Carlin,
Yeah.
and what I loved about Carlin was he would say things in a different way than most people would say the same thing. He would
Right.
use language like paint on a canvas, and I'm not talking about profanity. I'm just
No.
talking about he would word a sentence in a very different way, and I always loved that, and I've always kind of tried to do the same thing, is figure a way to say whatever I want to say differently than most people would say that sentence.
Exactly.
Somehow create a different way to express that sentence. And I loved how he used the words.
Yeah, to be able to right and make it relatable too. The key, making it relatable. And I mean, obviously, you have the ability to do that because you've done events with Tropicana Orange Juice and the Pittsburgh Steelers. That means you have a uncanny ability to be relatable to everybody.
Yeah, yeah, those corporate events, you have to dig in, and they're some of the harder gigs to ever do because in fact, I just talked to my good friend. I play golf with this guy every day. His name is Don McMillan. He's known as the high tech comedian. He's a former software engineer. He won Star Search, and he does his whole act on PowerPoint. And he's like one of the most sought after corporate comedians in the world. And he was just telling me yesterday that he has to send the slides for his PowerPoint display to the client before that he goes and shows up and does the show. And they go through them and they give him notes. And there's one company was looking at his slides and had a comment or a critique on every single thing he was going to do. And he's squeaky clean. And he finally said to him, look, I don't think I'm going to be able to perform for you people because you're too sensitive and it's just not a good fit. And they said, okay. And that was the end of it. But it was probably a $20,000 gig. But the people are becoming so worried about offending someone. I think he did a thing like the slide showed 1 + 1 + 1, and I think it was if you put something plus WikiLeaks minus something equals depends. Right. That was something like the PowerPoint show did a joke, something like that. And they said that that would be offensive to that was making fun of a medical condition. And he's like, you know what? I'm not going to be able to get away.
Well, all that depends
Yeah,
on how you look at it.
exactly.
We actually have a little clip here. We got a couple of things we'll show, and then more comedy coming up. But your take on Facebook, which
Okay.
of course has been in the news lately.
Yeah.
And um, it's crazy times we are living in, and you have a lot of material wrapped around that you can pull from these days. There's so much craziness. Every time you wake up, there's something that topped what happened the day before. It's just absolutely nuts. But gang, welcome to the show. Our special guest is renowned comedian, actor, voice actor as well. Randy Lubas is here live and direct from Santa Monica, California. We're going to make you laugh tonight. Jim Masters here on the Jim Masters Show Live. Keep the comments coming. Thanks for being with us, all the faithful lovelies. Here is Randy's take on crazy Facebook.
Clap your hands if you have a Facebook profile. Is anybody besides me getting tired of people on Facebook inviting you to contribute to a charity in honor of their birthday? Don't these people realize we're not real friends? We're Facebook friends. There's a big difference, right? What's your name right here? Gail? Let's suppose, Gail, you and I are Facebook friends. Do you know what that means? That means if you one day post a video of your cat playing hacky sack with a turd in the litter box, I might click like. That's the end of it. So please, Gail, do not think I was intending to get you a gift, in lieu of which I will make a cash donation in a charity of your choice. And just so we are totally clear, Gail, unless you are willing at 3 o'clock in the morning to pick me up from the airport, bail me out of jail, or provide me an alibi, don't ask me to contribute to a goat rescue in Fresno. I feel badly enough about people that live in Fresno. If they ever have a human rescue in Fresno, count me in. I'll throw down a few bucks, whether it's your birthday or not, Gail.
That is so true. You know, I saw there was a comic strip, and it reminds me so much of what you're talking about. There was a comic strip that was printed, and I thought it was hilarious. It was in black and white, and I forgot who the illustrator was, but it showed all of these chairs lined up at what was a wake for this person that had passed. So you have all these rows of chairs. There's one guy in the back row, just sort of, sitting there quietly. There's a man and a woman sort of standing in front of the casket. The casket is open, but you don't really see the person. You just see the open lid. And they're standing there, and all the rows of the chairs are empty, except for the two of them standing in front of the casket and the one guy sort of in the corner in the back. And the woman says to the man, "Gee, I would have expected a bigger turnout considering he had 2,000 Facebook friends." And the only ones were there were the three of them.
That's right.
I mean, it's like, and another one was a young couple, and the nurse and the doctor. The pregnant woman is laying on the hospital bed, and they're live streaming the baby's birth on Facebook. I mean, so what else do you think about social media and all the craziness of it all, my friend?
Well, I'm a big proponent of free speech. I think, but a comedian. I mean, I guess it was Lenny Bruce that said, "You're taking away my words. That's all I have are my words." And I just believe that there should be free speech. I'll give you an example. I have a couple little comedy clubs, and one of them, we had a comedian by the name of Brandon Vestal, very funny young comic. And he does a bit where he says, if you are a Republican in California, you better keep that to yourself. And he does a whole bit about it. It's very funny. It's hilarious. It's totally clean. And it's just an observation of the fact that California leans so far to the left. Well, he did a special on Dry Bar Comedy, which is this new platform that has it specializes in clean comedy. In fact, I just did a Dry Bar Comedy special that's going to be released this summer. And Dry Bar will pick little bits of your clip and label it. And they labeled his Secret Republicans. And I used that clip on Facebook to advertise his show. They shot it down. They wouldn't let me pay for an ad that showed that clip of his joke.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I was astounded, and I called them. You know, usually you don't think that you could get a person, but I actually got someone from Facebook on the phone.
You did?
I did, and this girl goes, I looked at it and I thought it was hilarious. I thought it was funny, but whoever's above me said no, and there's nothing I can do. They won't let it
They
go.
squashed that, huh?
Yeah. So,
Wow.
so I say, it should be free speech. Free speech is free speech. If you
Yeah.
don't like it, turn it off. If you don't like what you're hearing, there's many other options.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, definitely. You even tackled the 12 days of Christmas, and we have proof of that.
One of my favorite legendary bits.
Oh my God. And it's, when you really think about it, it is true. I mean, I won't give it away, but listen closely to Randy's observations, folks. They are quite true. Here we go. More comedy and levity on the Jim Master Show live with extraordinary comedian and actor Randy Lubas in the house. Here we go.
They played a song so ridiculous, so repetitive, so annoying, your knees would buckle when it came on. And everyone in this room has heard it. You've all heard the song. You may not have thought about it as carefully as me, but you've heard it. Of course, I'm talking about that song, The 12 Days of Christmas. Now, first off the bat, Gail, I will tell you, quite frankly, I don't believe that song. I cannot believe that anyone is this into birds. All right, you think about it, G. On the 7th day alone, this guy's getting 7 swans a-swimming, 6 geese a-laying, 4 calling birds, 3 French hens, 2 turtle doves, and a partridge. That's 23 birds. Who is this man? Alfred Hitchcock? Now, by the 12th day, he has accumulated 42 swans a-swimming, 42 geese a-laying, 36 calling birds, 30 French hens, 22 turtle doves, and 12 partridges. Now, I hope this man's got a newspaper subscription. Because that's 184 birds. And we didn't even take into consideration those geese are a-laying. Some of those eggs will be hatching. And if that's not bad enough, Gail, the next thing he does, they ship in show business people. Ladies dancing, drummers drumming, pipers piping, lords a-leaping. Which is good work if you can get it. Where do you get a job as a leaper? Out in front of Home Depot? I understand you're looking for leapers. I come from a long line. My father leaped off a bridge. My mother leaped for joy. Are you hiring? And I will give you the benefit of the doubt, Gail. I will accept the fact that the ladies dancing, the drummers drumming, the pipers piping, even the lords are leaping. They're all in show business, and maybe they're used to getting gigs around the holidays. But what about those poor maids of milking? They ought to be home with their families on Christmas, not yanking on a cow. You just picture them sitting on their stools. He brings in one more bird. And I hope he doesn't think I'm picking those pears. Next year, just send the gold rings. God bless you all. Happy holidays. Give it up for Randy Lubas, y'all. Let him hear you.
Cool stuff. Cool stuff. We love that. Really, really, really awesome. That's true. When you think about that observation, that is really, really true.
Yeah, it's funny. I remember when I wrote that bit, there was an insert in the newspaper that showed a picture of all of the birds in that song, and I looked at it, and it was, and I said to myself, "Oh my gosh, that's a lot of birds."
So what are some other observations that come to mind for you in the craziness of everyday life, especially lately?
Well, there's a lot of things I've noticed. Like, this was in the news the other day. The man who invented Cliff Notes died. Period. No,
Didn't he go to school? Didn't he go to school with manual labor?
I am so glad you got that joke, because I told that joke in a city here in California. Not one person got it. And
what happened? Somebody asked about that. Did you ever have a situation where you said something, that was actually funny, but they just didn't get it?
It happens once in a while.
Once in a while.
Once in a while, you do a joke that never misses, and for some reason gets nothing, and that will bother you more.
Yeah.
Then you could do a show and get a standing ovation.
Right.
And if that one joke misses, that's all you will be able to think about. You will say, did somebody drop a glass? Was there somebody, did the waitress walk in front of me? What happened? Why did that go wrong?
Right, exactly. So what happens? I mean, it's not easy. I mean, you're really taking a plunge sometimes. You go in there, you're doing your thing, and then all of a sudden, there's no laugh. I can't see how that could ever happen, but it does sometimes, right?
Yeah, yeah. I'll give you another one that is one of my kind of favorite things I've been talking about is I had to babysit, and I'm not really a good candidate for babysitting, but my little niece is 6 years old. She hands me a bedtime story, and I'd never read this book before in my life, but I'd heard of it forever. I'm sure you've heard of it, but this book called Hansel and Gretel.
Yes.
Now, for those of you that don't remember, what a pleasant little bedtime story this is. Hansel and Gretel's a happy tale of two children whose father leaves in a forest to die somewhere in Germany. And they get captured by an evil, wicked witch who decides to eat them, but not right away. First, she's got to fatten them up in a cage. So these innocent children are forced out of self-defense to break out of the cage and kill the witch by pushing her into a fiery oven. Pleasant dreams! Whoa! I don't understand the stories and songs we do for kids. How about this in Rockabye Baby in the Treetop? Now, who in the history of mankind ever put the baby in the treetop? Michael Jackson? Now, all right, just for argument's sake, Jim, let's suppose that at some point in time, many years ago, some terribly foolish person decided it would be a good idea to take the baby, put it in the cradle, and take the cradle all the way up to the very top of the tree, put it on a suspicious branch, on a windy day, and the wind blew, and the bough broke, and the cradle fell, and there was a terrible tragedy. Who at this point decided to write a song about this?
About
The
that.
purpose of singing the song to children to put them to sleep. Those are the kinds of things that I think about.
Yeah. And then that egg Humpty Dumpty sitting on a wall. I mean, where'd that come from?
That's right.
I mean, you think about it, a lot of these things would scare kids, you would figure, right? It's a lot of it's like, babies and trees and eggs on walls that fall and they crack. And I mean, was somebody having a bad day when they wrote all of these things?
It's terrible.
Yeah. That is funny. That's really, really funny. We got another one here too, another clip we're going to show. And this is really cool. This one is, let's see. Well, let's take a look. We'll surprise everybody. It's coming. We'll pull this up and see what we come up with. So while we're doing that, you are getting a chance to get back out there and start, performing and doing your thing, right? Which is really exciting.
In fact, I'm leaving tomorrow to go on a cruise.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
Is that how you met our friend Marty Thompson?
That's how I met Marty.
On a cruise?
Marty Thompson and listen, I got to tell you the story about Marty Thompson. Marty is a dear friend of yours. Maybe you should tell people about your friendship with Marty first.
He's fantastic. Yeah.
He was a
and his
cruise
brother
director.
Jason's talented too. Yeah.
And he's a singer and a cruise director. And he and I get booked together to meet on a cruise that took place a couple of days after 9/11. And no one wanted to be on the ship. I think there were 600 elderly Canadians, 600 elderly Australians, and 600 elderly Americans. And all of them were unhappy because the cruise line would not refund their purchase. And no one wanted to be on a cruise ship just after 9/11.
Right.
So
That's
it
right.
was the most horrible cruise you could ever experience. There was a hypnotist on the ship.
I mean, that alone sounds like a start of a joke.
And he had to do 2 shows. And it was the most painful thing I had ever seen. Because if you've ever seen a magician's show, he invites people from the audience to get up and sit down, and he begins his patter, which eventually gets people to go under or at least play along.
Sure, yeah.
No one
was interested.
No one played along. No one. 2 full-hour shows. And I'm standing in the back. It was the most awkward, uncomfortable thing I'd ever witnessed in my life. It was just so bad. And I remember Marty and I we landed in Japan and we went into these karaoke bars and everybody was singing karaoke and getting drunk. It was crazy.
Oh my God.
It was a 10-day and it was a repositioning cruise that went from Dutch Harbor, Alaska. And then I think it went to Vladivostok, Russia. It was the only day I was ever in Russia, if you can believe that. They let us off the ship into Russia. And that was an experience because that hypnotist actually spoke Russian. And so that made it so much fun being in Russia with someone who could speak the language. There were certain things about that cruise that I'll never, ever forget. That was one of them. But that's when Marty and I were together, and it was really quite an experience.
That is so funny. That is hilarious. Got another clip of more comedy here at the Ice House.
This was their 50-year anniversary show, I think.
Oh, that's cool. So we got a little clip here and more comedy coming up, gang. You look a little bit like Jack Nicholson there.
I actually do an impression of Jack.
Do you?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's hear in this.
No, not in that.
Yeah, let's hear it. You can have a glass of whatever first. We're a lovely family here.
I'll do
yeah.
Jack Nicholson reciting Christmas poetry. Was the night before Christmas or 9 days after Hanukkah, whichever merry way you look at it. And all through the house, not a creature was stirring, except for me and my spouse. When up from the roof there came such a clatter, I jumped off my wife to see what was the matter. I went to the window and opened the shutter. 8 tiny deer dropped manure in my gutter. Made me a little crazy, if you know what I'm talking about. Well, the good news is we'll be eating venison come Easter. There you go.
Red room, red room. That is funny. That's funny. I tell you, you do sound. As a matter of fact, you look like him too. Those eyes. The hills have eyes.
Hey.
The Ice House is going to take you there. More comedy, folks. Enjoy our special guest live from Santa Monica, California, from the top of the Ferris wheel. We're going to have to talk about that painting on the wall behind you, because Merlin in Canada already asked the question.
Sure.
She cuts to the chase. What is that behind you on the wall? So she needs to know, or she will not be able to sleep tonight.
Okay.
So you think about that while we take a look at this. And he just painted that 10 minutes before we went live, Merlin, just for the show. It's still wet. Here we go. More comedy.
I'm a little sad. One of my heroes died. Clap your hands. Remember Billy Mays. Who remembers Billy Mays? OxyClean guy, right? Oh, Billy Mays. From my hometown, Pittsburgh, Billy Mays. This guy was a salesman. Oh, he could sell X-Lax in Mexico. You remember Billy Mays, right? Come on TV, all amped up like he had 6 Red Bulls, 5 lines of cocaine, 2 pots of coffee, grinding his teeth. Oh, Billy Mays! The day that he dies on a plane, something hit him on the head. They thought that killed him. Turned out it was just Vince hitting him with a sham wow. You don't have to look far for the jokes. People say, Randy, why do you do comedy? I do comedy because the thrill of making people laugh has got to be the second greatest thrill known to man. The first, of course, is making love. I happen to be able to experience both these thrills simultaneously. Not real pleased.
That is funny. Just little teaser clip there. Yeah. What are some of the things that inspire you to come up with the comedy?
Oh boy, it starts out by something will irritate me. It'll be some little minor irritation that'll make me want to talk about it, and hopefully, I won't actually write it down. I'll just have an idea of something that I kind of want to talk about, and then I will see if I can do. I'll work it out on stage in between tried and true material. I'll just throw something out, and usually I'll be able to figure it out by the 3rd or 4th time I do it if I can make it work. Like, I'll give you an example of something I'm thinking about right now. Is I don't know why, but all of a sudden now, these people that help me in stores and restaurants and places have this new thing where they say, "Here you go, boss," calling me boss.
Boss, yes.
I don't want him calling me boss. And so, I said to this one kid, "Don't call me boss. I'm not your boss." And he said, "Well, what do you want me to call you?" And I said, "Your Eminence." so I mean, I don't know where I'm going to go with that, but that's like just it's one little minor thing in the day that I want to talk about.
Yes.
That's kind of how it happens. I'll see something that I think is irritating, and then I'll try to form it into a way that makes people laugh.
When did we ever start saying, when you were somebody was thanking you for doing something, and we respond with "no problem"? Whatever happened to "you're welcome" or "my pleasure"? It's all "no problem" now.
Right. Yeah, you're right.
What you mean to tell me that was actually going to be a problem? Because maybe I wouldn't have asked or had you do it or say it if it was going to be a problem. No problem.
Yeah.
No worries. I wasn't worried. I'm just saying thank you.
Yeah, that's the same thing.
When
That's
did
the
when did
same.
that happen?
That's right. That's good. I might use that because
Yeah.
yeah, that's absolutely right. You're right. What happened to you're welcome.
That's what I said, right? Yeah. Matter of fact, I actually told a friend who works in retail who was asking me about it because I tend to always say when somebody's thanking me for something, I always just tend to say my pleasure. You know, it was my pleasure to do that, my pleasure to say that, my pleasure to be there for you or what have you. So I'll say you're welcome, but more naturally, for some reason, my pleasure comes out of my mouth.
You know where they
So
say that? You know where they say my pleasure is Chick-fil-A. If you go to Chick-fil-A
they do
and
say that there.
I think it's part of their job training because
My
instead of
pleasure.
they always say no matter who it is at Chick-fil-A, they say my pleasure, which is nice.
Yes.
It is a nice
Well, he
way.
works in retail, and I told him, go in, tomorrow, and let's do a little bit of an experiment. Um, when get those thank yous from the customers, fellow colleagues, management, whatever, if it doesn't work, you can go back to saying no problem, because he would always say no problem. So, hey, no problem. So I said, go into the store tomorrow, major, retail chain. And I said, just try it for the day. Just every time, just say no, say my pleasure. So he calls me the next day and he goes, you won't believe what happened. And I said, what happened? He said, well, Jim, you told me instead of saying no problem, I said my pleasure to everybody, staff, management, customers. And they were actually thanking him for saying my pleasure.
Yeah,
It sort of turned it around because
and
he was
I
saying
bet
my
you.
pleasure. They were so shocked to actually hear somebody say that it was their pleasure to help them in the store, do something, find something, whatever it is, to be of service to that customer, that they actually said, well, thank you so very much, young man, for saying my pleasure. And just by changing up the words really are
And the interesting
incredible.
thing about that is I will bet you not only those customers, but himself, it improved their days by him doing that.
That's
It
what he
made his
said
day
happened.
a little bit better. It
Yes.
made his entire day a little bit better. Isn't that
Yes.
nice? Isn't that a nice thing? That
Exactly.
something that subtle can have the effect of lifting spirits of people on both sides. Those people that you said then thanked him, and how much he must have felt at that acknowledgement. Very, very interesting.
Cafe Tiburon checking in at Foxwoods Casino right now. Lost my place in this shoe. Randy's a funny guy.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Marty says, funniest night of my life. Changing the lyrics to the song at a Japanese karaoke bar. They didn't understand a word we were saying, but were cheering like crazy. Little did they know what we were actually saying.
That's right.
That is very, very funny.
Yeah.
Now, we're talking about all this fun stuff, but you actually, for those tuning in, you've been doing this for a long time. As I mentioned, dozens of national TV and radio broadcasts, Comedy Central, Showtime, the Nashville Network, the nationally syndicated Bob and Tom radio show, 6 of their CDs. You've performed it over 5,000 times over in 40 of our states and across Canada, cruise ships all over the globe, and so much more. What are some of the places you've been that really stand out for you? Memorable moments, crazy moments, fun moments around the world.
Oh, I've got so many. And the nice thing about being a comic or maybe an entertainer, whenever you go to a city, the people that want to show you their city will take you to the most fun thing there. And the thing that they probably take for granted because it's, they live there. But I always come away from just about any place I go having a pretty nice experience. There are a few places that I would not care to return to, but for the most part, having a good time. But I can tell you about one instance that was amazing. I was hired and this actually happened in my hometown in Pittsburgh. I was hired to be the keynote speaker at the induction of the new potentate of the Shriners. Now, I didn't know much about the Shriners, but the Shriners it turns out, are the biggest philanthropical organization in the world. They raise more money for charity than any other organization in the world, and most of it is for children who are suffering from burn wounds and many other things, and the children are never required to pay. And in order to become the potentate of the Shriners, it takes 7 years of dedicated service, moving up the ladder each time you make that momentous step. And when you are inducted, it's a huge point in your life. And I was hired to be the keynote speaker. And there was a dais at the front, and the guy being the potentate is seated here. I'm supposed to sit right next to him. And there's 350 people seated for dinner. And on everybody's table is a program. On the front of it is his picture. Open it up. Inside is my picture with my credentials. As we're standing in line to go in, there is a line of people dressed in costumes with fanfares and bagpipes and instruments and band instruments and fezzes and big hats and everything you could think of. It's going to make a procession into this room. And as we're just ready to go in, a guy comes up to me and says, "Oh, our guest of honor just had a heart attack. He just had a heart attack. So go ahead in, and we're going to start the dinner. And if he lives, we'll still have you go on. But if he dies, we'll cancel the show." So I go in, I sit down, and I'm thinking, do I want this guy to live or die? Because I'm eating dinner, and I'm watching the news spreads around the room, and people are beginning to burst into tears and hug each other and weep and cry. And I'm oh my gosh, I'm going to try to perform to these people. And so finally, the guy dies. And they come up to me and they said, "Oh, he died."
The way you said that too. Finally, the guy dies.
Yeah. Finally, we find out he died.
Just the way you said it's
Yeah.
funny. Even that line's funny. Finally, the guy, we figure it out.
Yeah. And they come to me.
You must have been sweating.
And by the way, people were getting up and leaving, and it was chaos in the room. And I'm thinking, there's no way that I can do a comedy show here.
Not that.
So they came up to me and said, please, no worries. You get paid no matter what. We're not going to do the show. He didn't make it.
Yeah.
Okay. So they hire me the next year. They hire me again the next year.
Because you made it through that event.
And
so
they called me
obviously.
up and I said, yes, I'm happy to do it. However, if anybody dies this year, I really don't think you'll have me back again. And so I do it that year. And it was funny. I've got a joke in my act about stupid gifts your dad gets that I did in the show. And one of them is, I always talk about dads getting the short end of the gift giving stick. And I rattle off a few examples of terrible things your dad could get. And one of them is combination shoehorn lint brush. And I go, woo, you want to put a pair of shoes up. So at the end of this, the show goes great. I do it for the Shriners. As we're at the end of the show, I am not lying. They had already prepared a door prize gift for everybody leaving that was a combination shoehorn lint brush that they had to do everybody.
Oh my God. What is the chance of that?
But that's my story of the Shriners. But they're a fantastic organization. And
what was the year after? A year supply of rice-a-roni?
No, I never heard from them again.
That you made a lasting impression.
Yeah.
You were killing them that night.
Yeah.
That is something. Wow. What was it like, these opportunities like Comedy Central and Showtime and, being a part of that, national and international exposure?
You mentioned Merv Griffin. That was the first show I ever did was Nashville Now with Ralph Emery. But then I did Merv Griffin show. And that was pretty fun because I was toward the end of his run.
Yes.
I got to the Merv Griffin show, and Merv was
Yeah.
so nice to me and talked to me, and that was that was a funny thing because when I did the Merv Griffin show,
Yeah.
I had gone with a buddy of mine who was scheduled to do it, and a lot of times you'd get bumped from the Merv, and you'd root to get bumped because they taped them, so it wasn't like it was live shown.
Yes.
So you would always, because you got paid if you got bumped. So they just reschedule you a couple days later or a week later, and you get an extra paycheck.
And Carson too, I think sometimes if he ran long with a guest he really liked and the comedy was really rolling, the other
When you
person
get bumped.
will have to come back later. Yeah.
Well, I go with my buddy to do his Merv Griffin shot, and Orson Welles was there, the guest.
Orson
And
Welles.
Orson Welles did the Griffin show, and we hung out with Orson Welles in the green room and talked to him and everything. And the next day, Orson Welles died. The next day, he died. And so
I think I'm going to end this show like right now.
I called up my buddy and said, "Hey, have they contacted you?" Yeah, we were joking, but Orson Welles. I said, but a couple weeks later, I got my shot on the Merv Griffin show, and it was with Evel Knievel,
Oh yeah.
Debbie Rich, and an author, Sonia Friedman, and they put Sonia Friedman on first, and then they put on Buddy Rich. And Buddy Rich is going really, really long, and he brings his grandson on to play the drums. And I was convinced I'm going to get bumped because they had me scheduled to go fourth. So I said they still got to get through Evel Knievel. So I'm like all relaxed, thinking, oh no, I'm not going to go on. And then they go, "You're on." Like right like that. They moved me ahead and put me on. I had no time to think. I just went out there and did it. And it was just really, really fun. But that's kind of a little interesting story about how they could surprise you and move your order. And it was fun. But that was great. I was there with legends, right? Evel Knievel and Buddy Rich for sure.
Absolutely right. Did you ever get a chance to work with this gentleman or meet him, Mr. George Burns?
No, I never met him.
One of the kings of comedy.
I did meet Carlin several times.
You did, huh?
Oh yeah, and George Carlin. Every time he saw me, George Carlin was an amazing man and a generous soul because he knew how important he was to comedians. He knew that for many people, he was like on a pedestal, and we looked up to him as an absolute inspiration. And so every time he ever was in the room when I performed, he would give me a specific compliment about something in my show. It was always something specific. It wasn't just good set. It was a good set. He would always find something to say about something you did that just made you feel good. And it was just really, really wonderful. Anytime George Carlin got a chance to watch you and then say something.
Oh, yeah. You ever see Sebastian Maniscalco?
It's really funny. Sebastian Maniscalco was presented to me just in the very early ages. Somebody sent me a videotape of him, and I think I offered him work, and it didn't come through. And then I didn't see anything. But I don't know him and I haven't met him, but I think he's one of the great comics of our time. And I watched his career explode to the point where he's filling theaters, and it's just and he's really got such an interesting delivery that makes him stand
Doesn't he?
out.
Yeah.
An interesting way. I
Really
love the way he almost will whisper his anger.
I love the one where he talks about, the changes in society, and he talks a lot about how, remember years ago when somebody would knock on your door or knock at the door, everybody would be excited. Everybody would jump up out of the chairs and off the couch and run to the door. The kids would be in their pajamas and they'd slide to the door. Everybody would be excited that we have company. But now the way it is, when somebody knocks on the door, everybody goes, "Who the hell is that?" And then they hide, they turn the lights off, and they tell the kids, "Shh, don't make a sound. They'll go away. Don't answer." And it's like, and that's so true. And then, then I think the other one too is about there would always be that bundt cake or that cake that was for the company. You can have the other stuff, but that pie, that Entenmann's pie or whatever, that's for company. And you would say, well, when's the company coming? Well, there's nobody scheduled, but you never know when that company may drop by. And that is for them. That is for them. Just like, the good silverware and the good plates are just for the company. And just
or
how that would
people
be.
would
That's funny.
or the people that would cover their furniture with plastic. Remember those people?
Oh, we had a neighbor across the street in New York, out east on Long Island. That was what they did. And they had the plastic, and you're like, it's
I knew a few people that had the plastic.
And it's like, what? It's a thing. I know you want to preserve the couch, but still, don't you want to enjoy it and feel it? And it's like, what are some other crazy observations, Randy, that you have of life? I mean, obviously, it takes humor to get through a lot of the craziness and oftentimes a lot of the sadness in life. We talk about the healing power of music, but there's also a real healing power in levity. I mean, I always look for the line. I'm always looking for ways to make people laugh. You do as well. And it's something that just comes natural. It's inbred, whatever it is. Not everybody gets it. 99% do, which is great. But still, there's something about humor, releasing those feel-good endorphins and what have you. It's good for you physically too. That's been proven. But what are some of the things that you're observing right now about life that make you laugh?
Well, how about pharmaceutical companies advertising on television? Have you ever been watching the commercial and you can't figure out what the disease is?
And the pill side effect is worse than the actual disease you got.
And now they've got this pill that's supposed to keep you from getting these pills keep you from kicking your legs uncontrollably in your sleep, restless leg disorder. When did that become a disease? That's what I want to know. I'm glad they diagnosed it, because for 25 years I thought I was snoring. Turns out I don't snore at all. My wife's got restless leg disorder. I'm rolling over for no reason whatsoever. That you could go on and on about these. Or how about the Mucinex commercials, the animated mucus dancing in a conga line? Whose life was made richer by the sight of talking boogers?
And do you know it always comes on at the dinner hour too, these commercials?
Oh, of course.
And the side effects are far worse. It may cause hallucinations, asthma attacks, seizures, violent aggression, and death. But talk to your doctor about.
Don't take this medication if you're allergic to it. Well, thank you. Thank you for that tip, because that one I needed a little bit of a reminder. But if your allergies are so bad you are willing to risk uncontrollable diarrhea, carry a hanky. A sneeze could be disastrous.
Significant 24/7 itching. I mean, that could be really that could be a problem.
And it's nonstop. I mean, they go on and on.
Yeah, I tell you, what are some cool things that you have coming up that you're excited about?
Well,
I'm sorry, we've run out of time. No.
I'm excited about the cruise that I'm going on, for one thing.
Yeah. Where are you headed to? Where are you going?
I fly into Miami, and I'm going around the Caribbean for to Jamaica and Aruba and a couple other places. But I'm on a cruise line called Carnival.
Oh, sure, yeah.
I had never done Carnival cruises before. When Marty and I were on, we were on Norwegian. And Carnival cruises, they have comedy clubs on the ship.
Yes.
And they seat 400 people. And they're the other cruise lines are very conscious about you being not only clean, but politically correct and inoffensive. Sure. Yeah. And on Carnival, they make an announcement: if you're easily offended, please don't come to this show. And so it isn't even that I have anything that is especially offensive, but it relieves that anxiety that they've been warned, and you're in a 400 seat room, and it's just glorious. It's just sailing, and I love it. So that's
that Hawaiian shirt you wear. That might be a little offensive, no?
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
the
But I can tell you,
short sleeve one.
I am managing 2, very, very wonderful artists. One of my clients is writing on the Late Late Show for James Corden,
Oh,
and she is
really?
fantastic, and she's doing wonderfully in her career. And then I have
She's
another.
welcome to join us on the show if she'd like to. I'd love to have them.
Well, let me see if I can make that happen. And then the other one is a very, very funny comedian, and I got him with a new theatrical agent. He's been getting auditions for some of the biggest new TV pilots,
Ah,
and
that's
fingers crossed,
fantastic.
something's gonna snap for him soon. So those are 2 exciting things, and then I have these 2 little comedy rooms, and then I'm just starting a book a comedy venue out in, Rancho Mirage, out near Palm Springs. And I just love the fact that everything's loosened up to the point that people are coming in more and more numbers. People, not even for the money, but just for the fact that it's telling me that people are finally over COVID
Yeah.
and feeling a little bit safer and able to not worry. And so all of those things are going. So I feel very, very blessed right now. I feel like things are really, really good. My wife just did a wonderful movie.
Did
She's a
she really?
Yeah, my wife's an actress, and she just did, a starring role in a movie in Sheboygan, Wisconsin. They shot a
Oh, yeah.
movie, and it's
Wow.
being edited right now. It's funny, she was supposed to do the film with Ed Asner.
Ed Asner,
Yeah.
yes.
And Ed, passed away before he could do it, so his part was replaced, but, they still did the movie, and my wife was in it, and it was really,
That's
really cool.
cool. That is fantastic. Well, she's welcome to hop on as well. But, we're having a lot of fun tonight, and the audience is commenting. Thanks for all the great comments, Lovelies. I know those of you who take the time to watch our show live, we really appreciate that. And those who watch it later in the archives, we appreciate that as well. You've been doing this a long time, my friend. How important is it to laugh, to take a moment to find the humor in the craziness and ironies of everyday living?
It is so important because they call it comic relief, and really that's what it is. And if you remember, think about this. When did vaudeville come about? It came about during the Great Depression.
That's
It came
right.
about when people were dead broke, broker than any of us can imagine with the way people were in those days, right? In the 30s. And so what would happen is a show would come to town, a vaudeville show would come to town, and people would flock because they needed it. And
Yes.
so it is so critically important, especially right now. There's only so much we can do about things that are happening overseas. We can donate money, we can send letters to our legislators of what we
Yeah.
believe, but we can't go over there.
No.
And so what we can do is love the people, love the people that are loved ones, and let them know that you love them. Tell them that you love them. And always try to find that way to put a smile on your face and someone else's, and you'll have a happier day. You, it doesn't take much to lift someone's spirits. It doesn't take much at all.
No. Right. Exactly. Merlin is making sure that we ask about that painting behind you there. Tell us about that. Merlin in Ontario, Canada.
Oh, okay. Well, that is a picture of the Colosseum in Rome. And my wife is full-blooded Italian. Her mother came from Sicily, and that's her painting, and it reminds her of Rome. We went to Rome for our anniversary. I think it was our 30-year anniversary about 6 years ago. Had a beautiful time in Venice and Rome and Florence, and it was one of the great trips we ever took. So it was really fun.
Haven't been to Rome or Florence yet. I've been to Venice. It was on a PBS television project, and absolutely spectacular. Yeah, the food. I mean, the amount of food, all the different, well, especially in Italy, all the different courses that they have. And now we're gonna have the meat course and the pasta course and the salad and the dessert and you're like, oh my god! And they bring you, the fresh catch out of the sea and on the plate and it's still wiggling and like do you want this cut or this and really really spectacular, huh?
Yeah,
You
Mangia,
enjoy.
mangia. Yeah.
You're right, exactly, yeah. So Merlin is happy she got a chance to learn more about that painting. She says, I love Venice as well. And she's thanking you, and good advice, of course, about the humor.
Oh,
And it's really important. You have a website, right? People can check out too
yeah,
to see
yeah.
more comedy and more fun.
RandyLubas.com. Yeah.
Easy breezy, right? Easy breezy. Well, this was awesome, my friend. I hope you enjoyed yourself. And
I did.
this was
It's funny. We could probably talk for hours. I just there's a little timer in the thing, and I'm looking. Wow, we talked that long, and it didn't seem like a blink because you're such a fun person to talk to. So thank you.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. As my father has always said, whenever anybody says something nice or kind to you, ask them to please put it in writing and address it management. So whatever the management is, just please address it management.
Yeah, yeah,
Toby
right.
goes, Randy's hilarious. Been watching him for years.
Thank
Yes, absolutely. And again, check him out everywhere, gang. Because 4 out of 5 dentists recommend you see Randy do his thing.
What is that fifth dentist recommending? That's what
Remember all of that? The 4 out of 5. 4 out of 5 dentists recommend this. Choosy mothers choose Jif. They wouldn't have chosen the child that they have, but they choose Jif. It's like,
right. Yeah.
it's funny. It's funny. It's all craziness. Well, you experienced some of our Gym Master Show levity here. Merlin in Ontario says, enjoyed very much, Randy. Take care and be safe.
Thank you, Merlin. Thank you.
And Christine's in North Carolina. She goes, Randy, thanks for sharing your life stories and helping us laugh and smile tonight in Levity Hall with you tonight. You're fun, Levity. You've worked all your life with all the awards, accolades, and everything else to finally make it on the Jim Masters Show Live, entertainment, lifestyle, talk show, variety series, as we call it. It's a mouthful. And be dubbed a JMS Levity. You got to be tingling right about now, huh?
Oh, well, you know what? Let's just show you one last little thing is little Bella will come and say hello to you.
Oh, yes, there's Bella.
Here is little Bella. This is another precious little gift we had. Bella, a sweet little dog who sat here with me the whole time. And she's the joy, one of our real joys of life.
Now, does Bella feed the straight lines or?
She'll make you laugh. She's more like Chaplin. She doesn't say much, but she's funny.
Why am I thinking instead of Stella, hey, Bella? Tell us about Bella. What kind of dog?
She
How
is a
old?
Boston Terrier, which are known for 2 traits, snoring and passing gas. And so Bella and I bonded immediately.
Kindred spirits?
Yes.
Where's your wife when we need her to verify everything? Oh, look, that's it. You know what happens, and it happens all the time, my friend. Anytime a guest brings on their beloved pet or a child or talks about food, you are second class. Look at Bella knows where the camera is.
Yeah. There she is.
It's like, excuse me, I'm a star. Randy, you be quiet. I'm on now.
Yeah.
The way Bella's positioned, it almost looks like a ventriloquist doll. I wonder if you could do voices. Make Bella speak.
Hi, Jim. It's me, Bella.
But the problem was your lips were moving, but Bella's weren't. It's
That's
supposed to
right.
be the other way around. Bella, wow. Bella really adds a lot to life.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. She's a sweetie. Yeah.
I tell you, good natured too, considering being by your feet the whole time. But look what happens, once you bring on, another loved one like that, you are second class citizen now. Marty says snoring out of both ends. And Christine says Bella is a fur baby lovity. Absolutely. Kathleen in New York City says, sweet puppy, so adorable. Marty
Yeah.
had asked if it was a Boston Terrier. Yes, absolutely. Merlin says, Bella. Jen Barry in Allentown, Pennsylvania. Cute pup. So
I lived there near Allentown when I was a child. We lived in a place
Allentown,
called
Pennsylvania. That's right, because you from
Emmaus.
Pittsburgh, but you were on
We lived,
the
yeah, it was called Emmaus was the name of the city. Yeah.
Emmaus, huh? Wow. Great to see you, Randy. Miss you, brother,
Ah,
from our buddy Marty.
it's good to
And
see you, Marty.
Marty's good people for sure. Randy, thanks for spending time with us. Cone back soon? Is that some subliminal? No, this isn't Conan O'Brien. Yeah, I know what she means. Come
Thanks,
back
man.
soon when they type so fast because they're so passionate.
Exciting. That's right.
Sometimes that she's all excited. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm surprised she hasn't asked you yet. Maybe she did, and maybe we didn't see it. She usually asks the guests. Now, you grew up in Pennsylvania, in Pittsburgh, and you're there on the West Coast, Santa Monica. I'm here, on the East Coast in the Northeast, the New York area between New York and Boston. So I love the ocean, obviously. I grew up near the ocean. We're by the ocean, swimming, surfing, all of that, boogie boarding, just being near it. She will ask you I don't know if you've done it yet, Jen Barry in Allentown, but what is your Zen place? Would it be the ocean or the mountains? She usually asks that.
I'd say the ocean. Every day, not every day, but usually about anywhere from 3 to 5 days a week, I take a walk from my house down to what is called the Bluff, and it overlooks the Pacific Ocean in Santa Monica. And you could walk right along this little park. There's a walking path and bike path that sit up above the Pacific Ocean there in Santa Monica, and you can look down and see the coastline, and it's just serene and beautiful, and it's contemplative. It's a good place to really, like you said, get into a really good mindset.
Is that the place where when everybody, comes up to you and they tell you these long-winded stories, you can't really believe what they're saying because they're bluffing?
No, but you mentioned the Ferris wheel, and it's
Yeah.
not far from that. You can see the Ferris wheel as you walk
Oh,
along.
yeah. Yeah. I was telling you off air, I was on a TV shoot in LA and Beverly Hills and all into there. And a friend of mine said, hey, let's meet in Santa Monica. We want to go to a restaurant. And I said, sure. And he said, the Ivy. I said, I've heard so much about the Ivy. I'd love to go. What a great place that is. And I believe a couple of tables, you'll have a lot of people coming in and out of there, but you do not go up to them and just jump. And I believe Dennis Quaid was about 2 tables over from us. And it was just great. And how respectful everybody is of each other. It's a place to come and enjoy, and good food, and the service is nice. And, I thought it was just really, really cool. You've been there?
Oh yeah, I've been to the
Yeah.
Ivy. That's one thing about Santa Monica where I live, is I could literally walk to probably 200 restaurants. I could walk to just about anything. I could walk to
Yeah.
the grocery, I could walk to the drugstore, I could walk to the hospital, I could walk to the ocean, I could walk to the DMV. You name it. It's all right here. It's a really wonderful place to live. And
Were you going to say walk to the DMV?
yeah, if you ever have to go to the DMV, I'm close
If your
enough to that.
car is impounded, you can always walk to the DMV.
That's
Do
how
you
close.
miss the East Coast? Do you miss Pittsburgh? Do you still have family back east?
No family left in Pittsburgh. My sister is in Virginia. So when my mother died, that was it. But I still have dear friends in Pittsburgh. And when my father died first, and then my mother lived another 10 years. And for those 10 years, I probably went back to see her at least 10 times a year.
Yeah.
And I was going back a lot.
Yeah.
And a little bit less since she passed. But I have one dear friend who's like a brother that lives there. And he and I talk almost every day. And I go back and perform still in Pittsburgh. So I get back there at least once a year. And
That's
I love it.
nice.
And I love it and miss it. I do.
Do you go on tour? Is there any sort of touring coming up?
No, it's just gig to gig, I
Yeah.
have a whole bunch of cruise ships booked. I have a week
Yeah.
in Vegas. I'll be in Las Vegas at the Delirious Comedy Club in the Grand Hotel.
Oh,
and I'll
wow.
be there from March 31st through April 2nd.
Very cool. Very cool. So if they go
Yeah.
to your website, they can keep abreast of all the cool things that are happening that you're a part of. Now, you also do voiceover work too. Tell us about that.
Well, I've done quite a bit of radio commercials, voiceovers for radio commercials, and I produced a animation pilot that I did a couple of the voices on, and I auditioned. It's funny, I had an audition today for a voiceover that I couldn't do. I had to write and apologize to my agent because I had just booked this cruise at the last minute, and so there's no point in me doing the audition because the gig is on the 15th, and I'll be in Jamaica or somewhere, so I couldn't do it. But voiceover auditions are like, you I have a little studio here in our condo, and I'll submit it and enter it, and then if you get the gig, it's great, and you go in the studio and do a little bit of work, and
Yeah.
you're lucky
Do you have
enough.
a studio in your house, or do you go
I
to
have one in my house, but
you've got one, yeah.
because you're in LA, you can virtually do voiceovers from anywhere,
Yes.
as you know. So,
Right.
um, except it's really hard to do one on a cruise ship. I mean,
Yeah.
the internet's just not good.
No,
But
yeah.
think about anywhere you go, you could theoretically do your voiceover. You could bring a nice quality microphone and plug it into your laptop. You could
Yeah.
you can certainly do the audition that way.
Yeah.
When they want you to go into, if you have to have a professional software in your home, and you can do, many people do them right out of their home. But in LA, there's also studios where if you book the gig, you go to the studio and do it.
Yes.
If you're
Right.
able,
Yeah,
so.
to go. Like in New York too. Yeah, you can go to the actual studio or what have you because they have them. That's really cool. And you mentioned an animated pilot too, huh? That's kind of cool.
Yeah, yeah, we were hoping we pitched it to Comedy Central and a few other places, and it didn't get picked up, but it was a good experience. I wrote it and I directed it and cast it. The two radio guys, Kent Emmons and Michael, um, actually started the All Comedy Radio Network, and we were trying to create generate this animated show based on all comedy radio, and we took sort of modeled it after the Bob and Tom radio show, or one of these shows that always brought in comedians, and that was going to be the idea, that it was going to be Comedy Islands. We actually had a set where you could do live comedy interviews on all comedy radio, and that was the idea of it. And then that venue sort of had problems with their investors and complaints with back and forth fighting, and they kind of fell apart. And then shortly after that, Sirius XM radio emerged, and so all comedy radio kind of already became existing on Sirius XM. So that was kind of out of the way for it, and we ended up with a great little pilot, and it's funny and people like it. And that really is Gary Coleman. Gary Coleman actually did
Gary
voice.
Coleman did the actual voice. He was a part of
Yeah,
that.
and
Wow.
I was Stewie, the guy that did come in and yelled at the guys, and my wife is the buxom receptionist. that
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 is
was my
funny.
wife. She voiced that part.
That is
So
funny.
it was fun.
You got to have fun, right? You have to have fun because if you turn on the news, there's so much tragedy and there's so much negativity. And, you know, um, have you found it hard? You're an actor as well as a comedian, but with the comedy, have you found it hard to do your comedy? Has it changed? Has it like I think we had a conversation with somebody recently about Don Rickles and whether or not Don Rickles would be able to do any or parts of his routine now. Has it changed
You
for
know,
you at all?
uh, in in this respect, it has. In respect of getting corporate work, um, if you like, for example, if you book a corporate event now, you would have to be so very, very careful of every word you use. Um, So in that respect, yes. But then that's like I said on the cruise ship, especially on Carnival, because if they say if you're easily offended, you can leave. That gives you the freedom to not worry that what you're saying could offend people. And I never have used profanity, but sometimes something could possibly someone could feel that that was being mean spirited towards someone else. And there's always a victim in comedy, and hopefully I do enough self-deprecating comedy that include myself in it when I'm picking on people that they get that it's a joke. But then when they say if you're easily offended, you can leave, that just gives you the freedom to know that if anybody's easily offended by this, it's their problem, that they had the chance to not go. And same holds in my little clubs. And I think if Don Rickles was still out there and he did a show in Vegas, he could still do his show. I don't think that anybody would do anything because you know what you're going to get when you go to see Don Rickles. But if Don Rickles did that stuff on network TV, for example, I think there would be enormous backlash if he did any kind of an ethnic joke on The Tonight Show or on The View or on, Good Morning America, something like that. They would be just totally conscious of people complaining. And that's where I think it would be different. But like if Buddy Hackett was still around, if his Vegas act was filthy, he would still be doing it. And, Dice Clay still does his stand-up in Las Vegas. I'm sure it's the exact same as it was. He's not become politically correct. But again, it's what you're going to get. What is slightly more likely to happen is for someone to complain at a regular comedy club that goes in and and believe it or not, you know who the most likely to be offended these days are millennials. They've been coached to be aware of anyone else's discomfort their whole life, that they are so on the lookout for other people's feeling, and that other person could be completely on board with the joke and get it and realize that there's a germ of truth in it that the comic was just pointing out that is a part of human nature. But yet you'll get these young folks that'll think that it's completely racist or it's completely inappropriate. And that's interesting is that it used to be, it was people in their 60s, 70s, and 80s were more likely to complain. And now it's people in their 20s and 30s.
Mm. Marty has a great comment here. Randy has an amazing ability to do a G-rated show and having the audience laugh out loud, then do the midnight R-rated and kill it with laughter. So the ability to sort of weave in and out, huh?
Yeah. And even the R-rated, I mean, I don't know what people consider R-rated, restricted. I would say PG-18. I mean, I don't think that anybody is going to find restrictions on what I say. I mean, obviously it wouldn't be for children, but
Yeah.
But again, you on the G-rated show or the PG-rated show, there will be children, so those shows have to be G-rated. That's the way I look at it. The one for the family, even though they label it on Carnival as PG, mine is G.
It's amazing, right? You've been doing this for a long time, and you love it, don't you? This really is something that speaks to the essence of who you are. You just like making, no matter whatever it is, you just like making people laugh and connecting with them, and coming up with things that are relatable, things that they can identify with. And that's important, right? Because a lot of people, they don't feel connected. They feel disconnected and they don't feel like anybody understands them or can relate to them. And you come up with humor that is, talking about some of the craziness of everyday living.
That's right. And
Yeah,
it somehow unites everybody because everybody's lived that same feeling or that same emotion. Yeah.
exactly
But
right.
but again, I think everybody on earth has at one point in their life said something that made someone else laugh. And
Oh,
I
yes.
guarantee that if you go back in your memory banks and say, "When did that happen for me?" it felt good,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
It feels good. And so if you can keep generating that feeling of good, you can understand how addictive it is being a stand-up comedian. It is,
Providing that joy and that pleasure and the laughs for everybody. Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely. Absolutely.
it is an addiction. It is, and very few people ever stop doing stand-up. You know, very few. I can almost count on one hand people that stopped doing stand-up comedy. You know, Steve Martin did, Woody Allen did, but there are very, very few people stop doing it.
Are there any other addictions that you have that you'd like to reveal to our audience tonight?
Uh, no, I think we covered just about everything, but I've enjoyed your
Darn,
company.
we were hoping for an Oprah moment.
Oh, you know, if everybody would just reach under your chair right now, I
You get a car and you get a car and you get a car. Absolutely right. That's funny. It was a pleasure having you on the show. Thanks for making us laugh in all the different ways you did tonight, Randy. Wishing you, continued success, nothing but blessings and joy in your life. And let's definitely stay in touch. And I hope the show met whatever expectations you had and you enjoyed the time with me and the love of the audience as much as I definitely have with you.
You bet, I sure did. Thank you for being such a generous host.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Absolutely. We'll have you back. And as I say, we'll keep that porch light on for you. Thanks, Randy.
All
Go
right,
stretch those legs now. We chatted almost 2 hours, hour 45.
not bad.
It's like a
All
nice
right,
set.
Jim. Thanks, my friend.
Thanks for all the time, Randy. It was a real pleasure. You be well now, okay?
Okay, sounds
All right.
good.
Bye-bye
Bye-bye.
now. Randy Lubas live here on the Jim Master Show live. And Nikki claps, claps, claps. And Kathleen Walker, thank you for being here, Randy. Kathleen was laughing too. Some of you were really choking left and right with laughter, which is really, really cool. Making you laugh in many different ways tonight on the Jim Master Show live. Hope you guys enjoyed yourselves and you found something to laugh at because you have to laugh. Because there's a lot of crazy things out there that you can definitely laugh at, and a lot of things out there that can make you cry. So why not choose laughter? We thank Randy for joining us here live on the show. Randy Lubas, again, you can check him out at randylubas.com, his website, comedian, actor, voiceover actor. He's been doing this a long time, as I mentioned, Comedy Central, Showtime, and on and on and on. And he's really, really funny, and he's a good guy, too. I want to let you know who's going to be here tomorrow. Speaking of comedy, Chris Corman is joining us. Yes, producer Chris Corman. He's the son of comedy icon Harvey Korman, from the Carabonet Show, and so much more. Yeah, he's going to be here 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific tomorrow, which is going to be absolutely amazing. The show has something for everybody. This is an entertainment, lifestyle, variety talk show series, so every show is something different, something for everybody. Again, Chris Corman, son of legendary Harvey Korman. He was also, of course, Harvey was in Blazing Saddles, the Mel Brooks movie, and so much more. That's tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. And then on Sunday, a very special episode celebrating progressive Irish step dance. You know who's going to be with us? The Trinity Irish Dance Company, live from New York City. They're going to be with us at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, coming up on Sunday, which is going to be absolutely amazing. Then on Tuesday next week, from the Phantom of the Opera on Broadway, Jeremy Stahl, starring in Phantom of the Opera. He has for years. He's going to be with us as well, live and direct from New York City as well. And that's going to be absolutely fantastic. Really great conversation. And Kathleen Walker says, great fun. Thank you, Jim. Laughter is good therapy. Yes, it is. Thank you, Kathleen in New York. And Jane in Sweden says, what a hilarious guest, Jim. Smile, 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 smile. Thank you very much as well. Marty Thompson says, laughter is the best medicine in the world. A day without laughter is a day wasted. Always laugh when you can. It is cheap medicine. Yes, it is. Claps coming in from Nikki. Thank you very much. Great guests coming up. Toby in Encino, California. Thank you as well. Christine Clifton, thanks for a wonderful show with Randy. Good night, Jim and Lovedies around the globe. See you all over the weekend. Thank you, Christine Clifton, there in North Carolina. as well. And say hi to your mom for us as well. Hope she's doing well. And thanks to everybody who's watching us live. Again, whenever you see this, you know you're going to have a good time. Entertainment, levity, deep conversations, poignant moments, and lots of surprises here for you on the Jim Masters Show Live. If you haven't had a chance yet, we would love it if you subscribe to that YouTube channel, which is Jim Masters TV. If you enjoyed this episode or any of the episodes, be sure and give it a hearty thumbs up. There's a little icon there that looks like a thumb on the YouTube channel. Make sure that you click that and give this episode a like and leave a comment for us as well. And when you subscribe to the YouTube channel, be sure and make sure you click the notification bell. Really important. So you'll be notified about all the episodes so you never miss a thing. Okay. Nikki says, thank you, Jim. See you all soon. Thank you, Nikki, and everybody who is with us live and everybody who's going to be watching this show in the archives. We love you all. Thank you very much. Hopefully we'll put a smile on your face tonight, however we did. Something fun tonight and a real pleasure. You guys are the best. We don't say goodbye. We just say see you later and cheers and ciao and slancha, Wiedersehen, shalom, sayonara, and we'll catch you later on the next one. Thanks for having my mate Randy on. Good, funny bloke. I love those expressions, the English and Australian expressions. He's a good, funny bloke. There's something about the sound of the word bloke. Isn't that funny? Have a great night. Good night. All hugs to you, Kathleen, in New York City as well, and to everybody watching live and Memorex. See you again, gang. We love all of you. You take care and be well. We'll see you on the next episode of the Jim Masters Show Live. Take care. And again, if you're watching live, we'll see you on the next one. Those of you who are watching this episode, not live, but you're watching it perhaps in the archives, stay right here. Another episode comes right up on the Jim Masters Show Live. Be well, take care, and cheers.